Morning, everybody. Good to see everyone. And for those of you who are joining online, good to have you with us. We are so grateful to have you as part of our worshiping community today. A couple of announcements to share with you all. The first is that the youth luncheon that was scheduled for today is going to be rescheduled. There's just a lot of people are sick and out and that kind of thing today, and we'll just have to try again on another week. So be looking for some information about when that event is going to be rescheduled, and we'll let you know as soon as we have a date and a plan for that. After the service today, immediately following the benediction song, we're going to have a meeting where it's kind of a Q&A session about church budget kind of stuff, and it's going to be very brief, and there's childcare provided for that. So after the closing of that song, if you're able to stay for the meeting and want to do that, then just hang out here for just a few minutes, and we'll just immediately begin that, okay? And if you're unable to stay for the meeting, then feel free to just let yourself out and that kind of thing, because we're just going to be hanging right here for a few minutes right after that song. So as we begin worship this morning, I want to invite us to center our hearts and our minds on the divine and just enter into a focus and a time and an atmosphere of worship this morning. As we begin to worship this morning, I invite you to stand as you're able. Sing joyful, joyful. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee. To the sun above, fill the clouds of sin and sadness, drive the darker doubt of in the love immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day. All thy works rejoice around me, earth and reflect thy rays. Stars and angels sing around me, center of the broken praise. Hill and forest, hill and mountain, flowery meadow, flashing sea, chanting bird and flowering fountain, all us to rejoice. All souls join the mighty chorus, which the morning stars begin. God of love is reigning o'er us, sibling love finds home free. Rivers sing, march beyond the So this is one of my favorite songs that we do, and I just, as we sing the first line, want you to, you might have to be a little imaginative. Into my soul in winter, I believe in springtime. I see it's so good to be with you. My home has come. Lord, you make all things new. Your love is my way. Now I sing hallelujah. My home has come. Now I walk through the valley of the shadow, and I will taste silver and gold. Lord, Lord has told me to cherish the peace of which Lord, my hope in winter. I believe in springtime. I see it's so good to be with you. My home has come. Lord, you make all things new. Your love is my way. Now I sing hallelujah. My home has come. Now I'm not gonna give in to this mortal frustration, and I'm not gonna give them any standing ovation. I will lift my soul, God, with no hesitation. 'Cause between you and me, there is no separation. In winter, I believe in springtime. I see it's so good to be with you. My home has come. Lord, you make all things new. Your love is my grace. Now I sing hallelujah. My home has come. In winter, I believe you. In springtime, I see you. It's so good to be with you. My home has come. Lord, you make all things new. Your love is my way. Now I sing hallelujah. My hope has come. Praise the Lord, my soul. Bless God's holy name. Bless the Lord, my soul. Praise His name. That's the whole song. We're going to sing it a couple more times. Bless the Lord, my soul. Bless God's holy name. leads me into life.
Hello, friends. Aw, there's a new little baby. Man, these people. She just had a baby like a week ago. I would totally not be here right now, but you go. Go you. Okay, so we're in our final week. Welcome. We're in our final week of songs that bring us to spiritual places. I have really enjoyed this series. I wonder if it has made you think about some of the songs in your life that maybe weren't, Christian songs, but they brought you to the most spiritual places when you really think about it. David's song of choice today comes from a song from the Disney animated film Moana. And it's funny because I have a lot of feels around the Moana soundtrack, actually. So I got really excited when he shared that was his song. That movie came out in 2016, and that was the year that my daughter was born. Maddie was born in 2006. We have a lot of people born that year. But I just remember how much she loved the soundtrack. She loved it so much that it was the only solution to keep her from whining or crying after being in the car for too long. So when she got to that point in the car, I knew I could put on the Moana soundtrack, and I had 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 40 seconds of peace. And we live where we live, so we drive around. Errands take a lot of driving, right? And the best part, though, about this was that I really loved the soundtrack, too. It wasn't like, her other favorite at the time, which was Mother Goose Club. I really loved listening to the soundtrack. So now when I hear any song from Moana, I immediately get in my feelings. Like I'm brought back to another place in time. And I know you know what I mean. You're probably thinking of some songs right now that happens for you. I'm thinking of Shoot the Moon by Norah Jones and Fields of Gold, the Eva Cassidy version, and Waterfalls by TLC. I hear these songs so strongly attached to a particular memory or season in life, and I feel like simultaneously like someone punched me in the gut and gave me a big hug at the same time. It's that really strong feeling of nostalgia that's so big and beautiful it almost hurts, and you can like feel it in your body. And y'all, that's the kind of that's the same point and reason why we do communion. Like we're trying to punch you in the gut and hug you at the same time around here. But that's kind of the point of this communion ritual. We're always centering around here. This is the center of our gatherings on Sundays together. It is a bodily ritual in which we engage all our senses and our feelings in order to be brought back to another place and time. Why? Why do we do this? So that we can reflect on and remember the cornerstone of our tradition. The Christ whose path was so beautiful and so radical that after all this time, we are still compelled to examine it and maybe follow it and hopefully embody it, particularly in community with one another. So as we participate in this shared liturgy together, that's going to pop up on the screen here in a moment, and it's also in your guide. As we participate in this ritual we've practiced together countless times, may we remember in our minds and in our hearts, but also our bodies, the words of Jesus at the last meal he had with his closest friends when he broke bread and gave it to them, saying, "Take, eat, this is my body, which is given for you. Do this as often as you eat it in remembrance of me." Read with me. I'll read the regular and you read the highlighted. God is within you.
God is also within you.
Lift up your hearts. Let us give thanks for the blessing of life.
Together we raise our voices in gratitude.
Pray with me. God, Jesus' final wish for his people, his friends, was that they would remember him in their most mundane but necessary communal moments, that of eating together. May this knowledge and this ritual be a reminder of the power of community. And may community continue to be our nourishment, hope, and energy in these uncertain times. Amen. Great is the mystery of faith.
Christ, as we imagine death, and we join with him for your heaven.
Amen. Now, this is the part where I leave my manuscript behind and you discover how I'm not well spoken I actually am, because I'm going to try to explain what's about to happen. So today we are doing communion. We're just doing the bread. We usually take the bread and we dip it into the cup, so it's called intinction. Oh, okay, cool. We have two options. Wow, amazing. We have bread. If you just want real bread, David will put it into your hands.
I have sanitized.
That he has cleaned. And we're not doing juice today. But if you do want juice, we've got these little packets with the wafer and the juice.
So if you don't want to
Take at your own risk. If you're wearing white, I recommend just bread. But anyway.
We're just not dipping today.
Okay, we're not dipping. And the reason is, as you can see, a lot of empty seats. There are so many people out right now sick, so we're just trying to take some preventative measures there. So you can come out, front or back? From the front row first, come to the back, choose your mode, and then we'll take it row by row.
For the fruits of all creation, thanks be to God. For God's gifts to every nation, thanks be to God. For the plowing, sowing, reaping, silent growth while we are sleeping. Fusion needed roots sinking. Thanks be to God. In the just reward of the good, God's will is done. In the help we give our neighbor, God's will is done. In our worldwide task of caring for the hungry and despairing, in the harvest we are sharing, God's will is done. Oh, the harvest of the Spirit, thanks be to God. For the good we all inherit, thanks be to God. For the wonders that astound us, for the truths that still confound us, most of all that love has found us. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Oh, thanks be to God.
I've never heard that song before. It was. If the kiddos want to come down, go ahead.
It's a hymn by a guy named Fred Pratt Green, and it was written in 1970.
No relation.
No relation.
Sing too. It's an old song all through the night, though.
Oh, really? Kiddos, come on down. I feel like I'm on the Price is Right to say that. Come on down. Hey, y'all. Glad you're here. Who's excited to be on Thanksgiving break? Yeah. You get 9 days off? I think we all get 9 days, 9 days, 9 days. Everyone gets 9 days off. You get 9 days. All right, I wanted to, it's Thanksgiving. I wanted to talk about thankfulness and gratitude. But first of all, who knows what's in this bag? Oh man, lots of hands. I know you know because you live with me. What's in here? Sticky bat. That would be awesome. I did not think of that. What do you think is in here? Oh man, this summer we all sweated together on Aurelia's porch and we made a gratitude chain. And in the miracle equal to Hanukkah, it has survived my house. Here it is. Look at this chain. We made this gratitude chain together. Remember at the retreat at Aurelia's house? I read through this yesterday. There's a lot of awesome stuff on here. Most of it. I can't lie in church. So I read most of it. Not all of it. You know, but you all have a lot to be grateful for, and I'm sure you've thought of new things since then. A lot of the stuff on here is like family stuff, like mom, dad, brother, sister. Somebody drew a caterpillar. There's a snake over here. All kinds of things. What are you especially grateful for right now? Anyone have anything? Yes, your baby sister. Your family and to be alive. That there's no school for 9 days. You said anymore, but it's really just for 9 days. I'm sorry. Yeah. Your cat, Jinxie. Sports. The things you already have. Your dog, what's your dog's name? Dobby. Dobby's a free dog? He is.
Is he a free dog? Orange, that's your cat. Thought so. You know, gratitude is a muscle we have to build. It doesn't just always happen, but it's one of those muscles that the more we exercise it, the bigger it gets, the more easy it is to use it, things like that. And gratitude is also like magic. It transforms situations, it transforms feelings. But I want to give you a tool to help with your gratitude. So I made you a Mad Libs for your Thanksgiving prayer. And if your parents are cool, they'll let you fill this out and say the prayer before the Thanksgiving meal.
Thursday. So I'm gonna hand this out to you, but let me read you the one I filled out for today, just for funsies. You'll get an example of what's in here. The Thanksgiving prayer by Matthew, that's how it starts. Hi, God. There is so much to be grateful for. Recently, I saw something surprisingly beautiful. It would have been easy to miss, but I got to see it. It was, and here's where you would fill it in. I said, the two sibling oak trees right outside who have grown together. Have you ever noticed them? What made it so beautiful was the way that they made space for each other. I kind of felt, and here's where you would write your feelings after talking about your beautiful thing. I wrote, hopeful and calm when I saw it. Also, someone was recently nice to me. This morning, Aurelia was nice when she shared her breakfast. When this happened, I felt, and here's what I wrote, loved, because sausage kolaches are my favorite junk food. Thank you for her. You did good with that one, and our world is better with her in it. Here's where it turns into more of the Thanksgiving dinner prayer I wrote, or it says, really, there are many things to be grateful for, but I want to also thank you for this food that we're about to eat. I'm especially looking forward to eating I wrote, green bean casserole. Huh? Huh? What would y'all write in that part? What are you looking? Potatoes? Pie? Turkey? I could have said pecan. And then the prayer ends this way. These are a few of the many blessings you put in our lives. Please open our eyes to see more of them, and our hearts, hands, and homes to join you in being a blessing in our little part of the world. Amen. So I'm going to give you one of these. You can fill it out, and you can say the prayer at your Thanksgiving dinner if you want. Here, maybe y'all can touch these. You help hand these around, and I'll email it. I'll put it on our local Facebook page as well, so you can print it out. Because papers get lost really, really easily. At this time, we also have a video we're going to watch with Fred Rogers. Who knows who Mr. Rogers is? We got a couple. Yeah, probably more adults than kids here. Daniel Tiger. Who knows who Daniel Tiger is? He stole all his material.
He is the inner child of Fred Rogers.
He is that's right.
He is
Actually,
the
he was
genuine inner
on.
child of
He
Fred
was
Rogers.
on, actually. Yeah. Okay, so we have a video we're going to do. Let me hand it over. And then after that, 9 and under, we'll go over to the building over here for Peace Kids Church. Cool? So after the video, okay? Thanks, Nick.
But the toughest thing is to love somebody who has done something mean to you.
If you want to go to your seats so you can see.
Especially when that somebody has been yourself. Have you ever done anything mean to yourself? Well, it's very important to look inside yourself and find that loving part of you. That's the part that you must take good care of and never be mean to. Because that's the part of you that allows you to love your neighbor. And your neighbor is anyone you happen to be with at any time of your life. Respecting and loving your neighbor can give everybody a good feeling.
Okay, kids, you can head, if you're 9 and under, you can head over to the kids' class.
Yeah, kiddos, come with me. I will lead the Madness Prayer.
Hello? Okay. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness that has not overcome it. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, And though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become a children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor human decision or a husband's will, but born of God. The Word of God became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Out of his fullness, we have all received grace in place of grace already given. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but the one and only Son, who is himself and is in closest relationship with the Father, has made him known. We hear the voices of God through these words.
Thanks be to God. I'll take care of it. It's fine. You're good. It's fine. I got it. Nope. This is serving triple duty this morning. I'll get this. Stand it. I have crossed the horizon to find you. I know your name. They have stolen the heart from inside you, but this does not define you. This is not who you are. You know who you are. That song is from Moana, as Aurelia shared earlier. When she told me this was a series we were doing, I was really excited. I'll get to there in a minute. I love this song so much. It's so short. It's I think less than a minute long and less than a minute scene in this movie. But I remember the first time we saw it, just immediately connecting to what it was saying. And so the song starts, says, "I've crossed the horizon to find you." This is what Moana sings. I'll do some spoilers here for you if you haven't seen it. It's been like 8 years, so it's not my fault. One of my favorite jokes to play is that people will like talking about spoilers and someone will say something about Sixth Sense. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that movie. Please don't spoil it. And it's really fun to see when I can actually get people to believe I don't know what's happened. And I've never seen it, but I really enjoy when I can get people to believe I don't know what happened in that movie. Fully unrelated. So sorry. This is a real problem today. So Moana starts, and she's singing to Ka, this demon or evil spirit that they're fighting. And she has this moment of realization. But so she starts to sing. She says, "I have crossed the horizon to find you." John, the gospel writer we just heard, says that the word of the divine and the divine are one and the same. Have always been the same thing. The word created everything. So everything that has ever been created came straight from the word, which has always been the same as the divine. She goes on to say, "I know your name." The psalmist reminds us in different, the psalmists, there's multiple of them, say in different places that God, with a nonlinear concept of time, has known us from the beginning of time to the end of time. That God knows and will always know us. She sings next, "They have stolen the heart from inside you, but this does not define you. I'm reminded of Ezekiel when he talks about, he shares a message of a heart of stone being turned to a heart of flesh because of the love and the grace and the mercy of God at work in the lives of the people of Israel. It finishes and says, this does not define you. You know who you are. This is not who you are. You know who you are. I'm reminded of the disciples who come to Jesus like, hey, man, there's this guy over here, and he is doing this stuff, and he's saying it's in your name, but he's not with us. And I got to imagine Jesus is just like smirking. He's like, okay, is he against us? Is he like speaking against us? Is he doing anything like, no, okay, he's with us, man. Like, let's all move forward. Let's go. When he makes the statement in another place in a gospel where he says that, hey, my family is not these flesh and blood, these people. My family are the people who are doing the work of God, the work of the divine in the world. That's who my family is. That's who belongs to me and with me. I can't ever say enough that all sacred texts from different faith traditions are written to particular people in particular places and particular times. No one sharing and then writing down these stories knew that I'd be finding a glimpse of the divine in a Disney song and then pulling them out to compare them line by line, but here we are. It's one of my favorite games to play. So when Aurelia said this was the series we were doing, it's like, hell yeah, I like to make stuff about God that's not about God. When I was in college and I was a much bigger theology nerd / snob than I am now, we talked a lot about how if everything has its existence from this singular divine entity, then every existing thing has to flow back up to that. You have to be able to see it, the Imago Dei, which Aurelia talks about all the time. So where is the image of God in these people and places and songs and movies and books and all of these things? Where is the image of God? So we'll be watching something or listening to something, and I'll say to Hillary something like, that's about Jesus. And she rolls her eyes because, not because she doesn't think it is, but it's my favorite game. It's her favorite game that I play. She loves it. She doesn't ever get tired of it. So it's a lot of fun. But immediately, I already said this, but when we were watching this movie and I heard that song, I was like, oh man, like, yes, Moana is singing it to Ka, who we're going to find out is the same entity as Te Fiti, but that's the song of the creator singing to their creation. I've crossed the horizon to find you. So I apologize for the spoiler there, but yeah, to Ka, this evil spirit they're fighting, we find out is Te Fiti, this creative divine being that they've been trying to save, to restore throughout the course of the movie. But so that song where it says, I've crossed the horizon to find you. I know your name. They've stolen the heart from inside you. This does not define you. You know who you are. For years in the evangelical world, I was bombarded with the message like, you are God's, you belong to God. And I believe it was said and meant to be a comfort, but I oftentimes received it almost as a threat. And sometimes that was more about me, probably, than about who was saying it. But at least sometimes in the cultural context of that world, I heard it a lot of, you belong to God, so you're not going to hell. Isn't that great? You belong to God, but what if you didn't? Sure would suck. You belong to God, but all those other people don't. Aren't you glad you're better than them? Often I didn't know who I was. I'm one of a large number of people in the world who live with multiple mental health disorders, and I've, throughout different points in my life, struggled with identity. What does it mean to be who I am? Last week at a family gathering, my sister called me our family's minister, and she meant it kindly, but I immediately rejected it. I spent so long trying to assert that kind of position in my family, and then seeing its flaws. And I'm really just now feeling like I'm in a place where I'm comfortable offering spiritual and emotional support to members of my family, wherever they may happen to be in that journey. Currently work as a bereavement coordinator, a bookseller, and a creative preaching pastor. And I have to make sure that I don't make those things my identity, because I've done that before. I do those kinds of work out of who I am because I enjoy them, because they represent parts of who I am. But I've been in a place where I've done the reverse, where I've made my work my identity. And it doesn't go well. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but not really a good plan. So, look into that. It's okay to be good at and like what you do, maybe 40 hours a week or more, but in my experience, making that my entire identity has never been good for me. My identity as a parent and a partner feels constantly in flux as I grow and change, and so do those other people. Am I being gentle enough? Am I being firm enough? Am I showing and sharing love in a healthy way? Am I expressing my needs without being damaging or rude, being angry? As a cis queer man in a passing marriage, I'm trying to figure out where and how I can fit into queer spaces. I have privilege because I came out late in life, and I don't always see anything as besides straight at first glance. I don't want to take away from others, but I desperately want to belong. But I also find fear in seeking out those spaces. Last night in Colorado, 5 people were shot and killed at an LGBT club. So I long to be in those spaces. I don't feel as though I fit at times, and I have fear of being in those places just for wanting to be who I am. It's hard to have all those things exist inside me at the same time. But I would imagine I'm not the only one who experiences that. That from time to time we find these warring identities inside of us, trying to figure out which one is real, which one fits, which one am I supposed to be. I want to take a moment too and say that I'm thankful for my sister reminding me that today is Trans Day of Remembrance, where we take a moment and remember our transgender brothers and sisters, non-binary siblings and loved ones who exist around us, who are in our life. The transgender people that I know are some of the bravest people that I've ever known. But I know there are too many of them that I and so many others will never know because they historically and right now are not in a place that is safe to be who they are. To know who you are and have so many people, whether religiously or culturally, tell you that you're wrong and tell you that actually that separates you from knowing the love of the divine. Devastatingly damaging. I have to remind myself that in our earliest stories of Scripture, God isn't described with any genitalia. And in my own life, because I've seen and heard God discussed so much as masculine, I swing to the other end and I regularly use feminine pronouns for God. And that's good, but need to be reminded that God is neither, but encompasses all. Transgender people know who they are and to not feel just rejected, but persecuted because of that, saying that white male God could never and would never love them and accept them and be with them. To be separated from that divine creator. God has crossed the horizon to find each and every person. In the Christian tradition, we'll head soon into the Advent season, which is a season of remembering and expecting that again. Not only does the divine know who we are, but reminds us that we know who we are. We can reject the interpretation that our heart is sick and says we should stay away from intuition and self-knowing and know that there are those in power who have made our hearts sick with their rejection and manipulation. So if you ever wonder who you are, remember that you are not defined by a story about a man, a woman, a piece of fruit, a snake, and an angry sky daddy. Skip back to the page before. We're defined by a creator who created all things and said that they were good. And said that we were good. I know who you are. Hillary tells our kids all the time, you are perfect and whole, made in the image of God without flaw or defect. You know who you are. this is who you are. Amen.
I have crossed the horizon to find you. I know your name. They have stolen the heart from inside you. But this does not define you. This is not who you are. You know who you are. Rising to find you. I know your name. They've stolen the heart from inside you. But this does not define you. This is not who you are. You know who you are. I have crossed the horizon to find you. I know your name. They've stolen the heart from inside you. But this does not define you. This is not who you are. You know who you are. That was beautiful. Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. And David, thanks for your sermon. Is that your first time preaching in person? Aw, awesome. Thank you. Okay. Trying to be a little bit mindful of transitioning from that heart space and into this like logistical space I'm about to go in. But I just wanted to share a few little announcements. There's, there's probably like 25 people off the top of my head that just aren't even here today because of various sicknesses or travel or whatever. So there's not very many people here. However, we are still going to have a little meeting after this. This happens like one time a year, but basically we need to talk about our budget because we need to get it approved for 2023. And so that's what we're going to do after this. Childcare will stay later so that we can do that. This is anyone who wants can stay. We're very transparent about how our budget works here, but it would be very helpful if you could stay. Okay, and then I wanted to just share that we are meeting every Sunday in the new year. Yeah, and not in the new year, sorry, before the new year. We are meeting every Sunday. We usually don't have church the first Sunday, but we are having church during Advent.
We won't meet on the 25th.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
So,
I'm so
sorry. You're right. Yes.
No, I'm mansplaining. I'm so sorry.
I mean, I'm used to it. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
just kidding. So Advent starts next week. We'll be online the next 2 weeks, and then we'll be back here on December 11th. And we will have our craft hour, which is super fun for everyone because there's usually breakfast tacos. No, I'm just kidding. There are going to be breakfast tacos and stuff like that. So that's after church and it's really fun. And I often make the crafts to put on my own tree. So I'm just saying, it's for everyone. Until we run out of supplies, then there are no more. Okay, any other announcements that are very important? Okay, so the youth thing is canceled today. I feel like there was one other thing. Well, I was going to say, if you do want to sneak out during this benediction song, and then we'll continue on. So, thanks.
Would you stand as you're able as we conclude the service with bringing the world to life?
Close to you, knowing me. The joy that comes to you, comes to me. May the light that shines from you, shine from me. May the love that pours from you pour out of me. Bringing the world to life, showing us what it means to live. In you we live and move and breathe, bringing the world to life. May I be your hand, reaching to feed the hungry. May I be your touch, comforting those who mourn. May I be your blood, walk in dark places. May I be your voice, speaking grace and peace. Bringing the world to life, showing us what it means to live. In you we live, move, and breathe. Bringing the world to life. Oh, Jesus, let us change the world with your peace. Oh, Jesus, bring the nations to your feet. Let us walk alongside you as you bring the world around us to life. To life, you're bringing the world to life, showing us what it means to live. In you we live, move, and breathe, bringing the world to life. Bringing the world to life, showing us what it means to live. In you we live, move, and breathe, bringing the world to life. Bringing the world to life, bringing the world to life. Don't go in peace.